Rooted deep, your love is steady through the seasons. Like a rose that unfolds, your heart for me is always open.
Hey, this is Justin with Roots of Eden podcast, and I'm here joined with Pastor Dick Drumeller of Crystalbrook Church down in Independence, Kansas. Pastor Dick is a father to me in the Lord, and just a great man that I just want to honor. And he's got an amazing church down there, and he's just doing some really amazing things that I just have not seen churches doing. And it kind of reminds me of the feast where, Jesus invites all the people to come in and they're all too busy. And he goes, just go get the people off the streets. And Pastor Dick actually has an amazing ministry called Hannah's House, where they're just pulling people off the streets and drug addicts, and they're just discipling them. And it's just so amazing the work that they're doing and the kingdom advancing and just the amazing fruit that's coming from what they're doing. And so I just wanted to get him on here and just share with his voice a little bit of what they're doing. They've got like 27 houses. It is amazing the fruit that's coming from this. And so I just want him to share a little bit, but just maybe some things that he's kind of like just really learned in, and especially in the last few years, of just like this work of just kind of just getting really down and dirty and messy in some places. And so Pastor Dick, thanks for joining me.
Good to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing in your heart and the vision you see, and just how you guys are applying the kingdom advancement to, the church and the things that you've been kind of doing.
Yeah, well, it's good to be with you, Justin. And, I'm so proud of you. And it's so exciting to have been on this journey now for, I'm not really sure how many years, but a couple decades or more. Actually, I think I first met you and came into your life when you were 12 years old. So,
Yep.
So quite a journey, but what a joy to see what God's done, and that's what He does, and of course we see that over and over through the ministry of Hannah's House, and so anyway, yeah, we I think sometimes I was thinking about this week, Justin, that we've been at the church here for 26 years, which that's pretty rare that a pastor will stay in one place, but so I think that's big because we have an established church, a fully functioning local church, and I just truly believe what God is getting ready to do. It's going to, the heart of that will be that functioning local church, because that provides a place, a base, so to speak. I call it apostolic stronghold, to work out of, to send out of, for people to come home to, so that's real important. And then, but it was 10 years ago, believe it or not, this May, that we launched the new ministry, Hannah's House. And so this May will be, literally 10 years since we started Hannah's House. It doesn't seem possible. And it has been a crazy journey. Certainly one of the hardest things we've ever done. And we call it messy. We have our saying, some people call it chaos. We call it family. But so we've been on this 10-year journey, and honestly, we could talk for hours and hours, but really not knowing this was going to happen, but it really changed our church. It's changed us. It's changed everything about us, the way we look at what we do. And now that we have, established this ministry, is, we haven't arrived. I feel like we just left, but we've learned a lot. And I think we're probably right around, we've had 800 residents, and, that's including some that didn't stay very long. Some stayed, they're still there, and everything in between. And so, we've had a lot of experience. So anyway, that's kind of what we're doing. And basically Hannah's House is just, we bought one house across the street from the church, and maybe I can share that story at some point, but how that all started. But that changed everything. And I just knew in my heart, and I think that's the key. I knew in my heart, and I'll tell a little bit of the story if that's all right, just to kind of give people an idea
Yeah, go
why
ahead.
we down this road. And because when we bought the building that we're in, not knowing this, we didn't realize we were just like cross the street and blocks away from probably, a very drug infested neighborhood, a lot of drug houses. People came down to that part of town kind of to get their drugs. And we didn't really know that when we bought the building. And so as a result of that, when we were first there, we had a lot of people stop by the church. Hi, moms would come by with their little kids in the back seat. Hi, and no place to live. And they've already slept on everybody's sofa. And I remember just my heart would go out to them and, want to help them. And long story short, we get them a hotel. My story about the hotel room and a cheeseburger, we get them a hotel room, buy them a cheeseburger. They're very thankful, very, very appreciative of doing that. And we go, put them in a hotel room. They could take a shower, sleep in a bed. But then I knew that tomorrow at 11 o'clock, they're right back in their and right back out there, And so I just believe one day I was walking across the church foyer. I looked out the front window of the church and I saw Hannah's house and had a for sale sign. And it just came in my heart. If we can get a house, do more than just a hotel and a cheeseburger. And so I always tell people the water doesn't flow till you turn on the faucet. So I didn't have no money. We had zero money. And I wrote down the number on the for sale sign. I called the number and just went for it. And after a series of events, supernatural events, and we ended up getting that house, and we've been going for 10 years now, and seen hundreds and hundreds of lives changed. And so that's kind of how it started and the whole purpose. But little did we know that was going to change our church. And like I tell people, Hannah's house and this ministry has changed us, and it ties to really what I personally, I believe the church was always meant to be, so that's a little bit of the background of it, and like I said, I could tell a lot more of the story, but so anyway, and since then, we have, in that neighborhood, it's just crazy because we got the one house, and I always like to tell people too, we've never had any money. We didn't have any money when we started, and we just felt like God said, go for it. And literally within weeks of making an offer on this house, we met a guy. He called me this week, matter of fact, and total strangers, never met them in our life. And they called us, so we're going to take you out to supper tonight. Didn't know who these people were. Wonderful, beautiful people. And they just kept asking us all these questions about Hannah and Hannah's house. And when we were done eating, long story short, they handed us a check for $30,000. And first day we'd ever met them. And we were able to pay cash for the first house, and refix. And then one day I was getting ready to take up the offering in church, and the Holy Spirit told me, stop saying house, say houses. And so I told them, I still remember that Sunday morning, and I said, guys, God told me we're not supposed to say house anymore.
Yes.
And literally, like in that next year, people started giving us houses, and I'd have realtor call me up, your local realtor, say, hey, Pastor Dick, I know you have that ministry. I've got a guy in California, and he's got this rental house, and he's tired of messing with it, and he wanted me to find some place to give it. And I'm like, well, where is it? I'm just curious because Independence is not a huge city, but it's not small town either. It's kind of medium, but it's spread out quite a bit, so it could have been anywhere. Well, this house was a block from the church, and the guy from California, I still never met him in my life, just gave us this house, and that turned out to be the guy's house. And we've had hundreds of guys stay in that house, but people just started giving us houses, and the majority of them are literally within blocks of the church. It's just nuts. So we've gone from that one house to literally almost like a small community, which is a whole nother story, which is just a beautiful thing. And it's changed the neighborhood. The whole culture of the neighborhood has changed because the kingdom has come into that culture. So anyway, that's a little bit of how we got started, and now, like you said, between my wife and myself and Hannah's house and the church, I think we've got, like you said, 27 houses now, and some of those are still definitely in process and need to be remodeled, and but they're right there. And I always tell people, Justin, if you can get a house, you can change lives forever. And I'm not saying everybody can go out and get a house, but I do know that that's a big key, because then you can really pour into them, disciples, and really make a difference in their life in lieu of, a hotel room and a cheeseburger.
Dude,
yeah,
that's awesome. I love it, man. I mean, this is kingdom advancing, it's just so practical, but yet, like you said, I just love that aspect of being able to, and I actually said it on a video recently. It was like, we spend so much time building the buildings. And I know even for you guys, you could, and not that you guys have a bad building, but you guys could have remodeled the building and made it nicer and redid the stage. And you could have done all these things that would have made it appear to be better. However, what you did was you chose to put into something and provide people with practical discipleship and a place to stay, and just really change people's lives. And I know I've been touched already by so many people that are down there that you've already, and there's a rapid acceleration happening with those people. We call them the Joshua generation, and it's so powerful because they're in chapels like, I don't know how many times a day, like 3 times a day, and you guys are just pouring into them every single day. And I love seeing it, and just seeing that acceleration of their maturity happening is amazing, just from real discipleship,
Right. Yeah. And it is truly amazing. And I heard somebody say, I don't remember who it was, but I think it's true. Every church needs a mission, and every mission needs a church. And, and I thank God for our building, because that's kind of the center, that's kind of the hub. But I remember before we started Hannah's house, I've always been a full-time pastor, and of course I'm not a great organizer. I'm a dreamer. I'm a little more apostolic. I like to, tear stuff up, pluck up, root up, tear down, and then build and plant. And, I call us an apostolic laboratory, but but anyway, I remember being a full-time pastor, Justin, and thinking that I need to go get a job, because we were doing Wednesday night like most churches, and Sunday morning, and that was great. And we could do some, I did a lot of other things too, but sometimes I thought, not to justify me being there full time. But the crazy thing is, since we started Hannah's house, and then we implemented the chapels, it's like Bible college on steroids is what I call it, and my whole life has changed, because I have so much more purpose and meaning in my life. And our church is open almost 24 hours a day, constant, activity going on. I always said I want to wear this building out, and it's just really changed everything. And like I said, I'm glad we're talking about it, because and maybe it's not for everybody, but it's certainly, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And like I said, it's truly changed my life, my wife's life, how we view things. It's just a different mindset. And I really think that God wants to get this word out, and maybe it's not for everybody, but maybe it's for some pastors and churches that really, have a heart to, like you said, get out there and reach those hurting, broken people. And that's what we see happening every single week. It's just amazing. And so that's a little bit about our story, but it's probably the most fruitful thing, of all my years of 46 years of serving the Lord. The last 10, without a doubt, have been the most fruitful, and far of just seeing people come out of darkness into the light, and then maturing, growing, and raising up a small army of Joshua generation.
Yes. Let's kind of do another round here. And what I want to focus on is what happened the other weekend at the Gathering Conference was so powerful. And I know that impacted you, and just the whole cross-pollination thing. So
planted deep